A Light Within Darkness, Chapter 1b, Fan Fiction by Azazyel. As though the universe laughed at my naive thought, a monstrous scream rang out through the tunnels and a large, mutated spider that came to my chest with its legs hugging the walls of the tunnels came skittering down the tunnel and was about to bowl me over or even eat me. Fuck off back to hell. I screamed, mentally ordering my cassia beads to do their dirty work, and with a flourish, a red line lashed out with a harsh cracking noise as my cassia beads shattered the spider's exoskeleton and stopped it in its tracks from the swift blow, popping several of its chaotically placed eyes. With another flourish I sent my whip straight into the previous wound, and then with a thought the cassia beads lost its flexible attribute as it became straight as an arrow, and with a grunt, I shoved the beaded string through the massive spider's bleeding eye sockets and into the brain, where the beads began lightly glowing as it greedily drank the blood from the spider as it collapsed to the ground dead. I stared at the massive spider and back down to the tunnel as I considered my options, and I realized I basically had three options as I realized where I was in the Hive City. For one, I was in the underhive of the Hive City, or in other words I was in the lowest levels of Coruscant from Star Wars, as I was so deep and under so many stacked upon buildings that I had no way of seeing the sun, and the whole area was overrun with the worst criminals and worst mutated people and lifeforms. So, I had the options of basically slaughtering my way up to the upper levels and even killing the security stopping the people living down here in these lower levels from going up. I could join the Imperial Army to be made fodder for the Imperium of Man to get out of the underhive easily. Or lastly, I take a note out of the Doom Guy's book and slaughter everything within reach to the point where people and the monsters realize my area is a forbidden land. Seeing as I didn't fancy my chances against autocannons, tanks, and missile launchers, that rules out trying to fight my way up to a better place, and if I join the Astra Militarum as a cultivator I will certainly be prosecuted as a heretic doing foul warp magic nonsense, and once again I don't favor my odds against science fiction military weaponry. So that leaves me with trying to take my own territory down here in the underhive until I become much stronger. Seeing the spider had become a drained husk from my cassia beads draining its blood, I ripped them out and they automatically wrapped themselves around my arm, and I noticed the beads were slightly bigger and the rope holding it together had become longer. Even as I wished I had a speaker to play some loud doom music to hype myself up as I almost confidently walked down the tunnel in which the spider ran from, I was actually listening deeply for other sounds that could announce whatever I was going to meet. A couple minutes later I got my wish as I heard a deluge of running water ahead of me, and after a bit more walking, I reached the end of the tunnel, and my face couldn't help but freeze and twitch several times at the sight in front of me. An unholy smell assailed me, and it was only my cultivator-enhanced body control that allowed me to temporarily shut off my sense of smell, and in front of me was an utterly massive cylinder structure. The structure looked to be a massive cistern with several waterfalls, and I realized with the smell that this was definitely a major sewer, and looking around I noticed all the walls that weren't being drenched in the waterfalls were completely covered in spiderwebs with uncountable massive spiders atop them. I heard another scream ring out, and I looked down like 40 meters at the bottom of the cistern, and I saw a group of humanoid shapes using what looked to be makeshift weapons to kill some of the closer spiders and taking the corpses into the tunnels. Eating massive spiders for food. I shuddered at the image, and then I pulled back into my tunnel as the group of people attracted too much attention, and instead of the chest-sized spiders they had been dealing with, a semi-truck-sized monster scorpion fell off the wall and ran into their tunnel, tearing into the poor bastards with their dying screams reverberating through the tunnel I was retreating from. You know what? I think left was the better option, I said as I carefully locked myself back into my vault.